Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Fire Mage, and welcome back to Rimworld Ascension Take 2, Episode 50. If you enjoy this episode, please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, mod list is down in the description. And with that, let's get on to the episode. Alright, well, picking up where we left off last time, what are my plans for today? Well, first of all, we will be finishing up the new armory at some point today, hopefully soon, but that isn't actually going to be the primary project for today. Because if you remember, last episode, that raid hit us, and it did hit us pretty hard and revealed some weaknesses in our defenses. Namely, the fact that the AI now deems it more effective to just bash my walls down. So we're actually going to replace that hole in the wall with a piece of rebar concrete as opposed to normal concrete, just for a little bit of extra durability. But that does bring up a good point, and that is we need to establish some turrets around the base. Now, while I could immediately launch into that in line with putting turrets around the base, we also apparently forgot to build 2 more houses for German and Vera, because all of these houses up here are currently occupied, which means we need to build 2 more houses. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and save myself the absolute headache of doing it all manually again and simply blueprint them so that I can just pull that up whenever I need it. And we are going to go ahead and start putting in some more houses down here. Alright, I think a little something like this should suffice. That will be an additional 3 houses, so we should have 1 extra bedroom for whoever needs it. And once that is done, we'll be able to start designing where I want the turrets. Now, one surefire kind of turret that I can slap into these rather tight corridors is the flame turret, which would be very effective in these more close quarters environments, and I think that's exactly the kind of turrets I'm going to be going for. Not necessarily aiming to kill, but instead aiming to hinder the enemy and dissuade them from advancing into certain regions. And we will be putting them in locations where they will be covered as much as possible anyway, so that they can kind of sneak up on the enemy, for lack of a better term. And to start off, we'll just do those 2 and see how that looks, and then we'll determine where we want the rest of them to go. Oh, and it looks like we got an exotic goods trader from Verbonlia. Well, now that is certainly interesting. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and get Beller Rose to go put on the trading outfit, and we'll go see what this trader has to offer. Alright, let's see what this trader's got. Well, right off the bat, they have advanced components, normal components, Glitterworld medicine, very tempting. And let's see, digestible resurrector nanites, very good. A little bit of ammo, and unfortunately, while they do have bionics, they do not have the bionic spine I need for carry. Unfortunate. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and buy their components. I don't think we really need their advanced components, but their Glitterworld medicine, on the other hand, I most certainly will buy. And we'll go ahead and sell off a handful of our pigs because they breed quite quickly, and we can make a tidy profit off of that. And I think that about does it. So we will be getting a little bit of Glitterworld medicine, some components, and we will be losing 343 silver. But that is alright, because we got Glitterworld medicine out of that trade. And Glitterworld medicine is very valuable to me. Oh, and now here is a rather interesting quest. The Fallen Empire wants to force a fog on our settlement for 15 days, and we are being offered some rather good things. First thing we have as an offer is a Psychic Harmonizer, which helps harmonize the mood of the colony to a single individual. Not necessarily the worst option, but also could be very detrimental. Then we have 4 Altex and 61 Jade. Not the best, not the worst, but what I think I'm going to accept for is the Altex Skull Cap and the Ranged Shield Belt. Now, the Altex Skull Cap, super cool, super awesome. Don't really care about it. I care about the Ranged Shield Belt. That will be very useful in combat. We can give that to one of our more squishy combatants, and they will hopefully not die as often. Or at the very least be able to take a little bit of a hit when they do so. And there is our lovely payment. An excellent quality Ranged Shield Belt and a good quality Eltex Skull Cap. And it looks like the shuttle has arrived for the donkeys, and it landed in the river. Of course it did. Well, can't say I am surprised. That is just my luck. Let's go ahead and get that loaded. And marksman rifles are researched. I think next up on our list of things to research, we will be researching transport pods. Because not only does this give us the ability to make the base game transport pods, but also, as you can see, it allows us to start making stuff in space. Do we have the resources or the infrastructure to start on space exploration? Absolutely not. But it would be cool to start getting it laid out. Get our own little space program going. Of course, we have other issues we're trying to deal with right now. But having that as a long-term project would be quite fun. You know what? I think it's actually time for us to send out a trade caravan of our own to Tusla. Mainly because I want to help with their harvest to replenish my food supplies, but also because I do need to go and try and buy, but also because I need to try and see if they have a bionic spine. Seeing as right now, carry is completely useless. No spine, can't walk, not exactly useful to the colony. So let's go ahead, we'll load up everything that we straight up do not need and can outright just sell for profit. Make sure we grab the money as well. Load up the Sky Steel. And we have quite a few weapons that we do not need. Now, I'm not sure if they will buy bio-coded weapons, but we'll take them just in case they do. We have quite a few of them, after all. No harm in taking them and seeing if we can't pawn them off. And then we'll also go ahead and take a bunch of these older uniforms. And you know what? We'll even take the Eltec Skull Cap and see if we can't sell that. That would make for a nice profit, I think. And I think that's just about everything we will be taking. Then we make sure we set up the route correctly. Prepare to send it off. And let's also make sure we get Bella Rose in the trading uniform before sending her off with White. And once they're done and off, hopefully we can get both some trading and some farming done over at Tusla. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and turn off my research benches for a little bit, and instead have my researchers focus on the scanners. Because although transport pods and space stuff would be great, kinda need resources right now to finish up our projects here on the ground before we go into space. I mean, we still have to finish building the houses, the turrets, a whole lot of other stuff that I have planned. So, gonna focus on that first, I think. And that means that we need the ground penetrating scanner to find some stuff, and the long-range mineral scanner to hopefully get us some good steel deposits, if we're lucky. And it looks like our long-range mineral scanner has found a lump of compacted steel, and it is over by the ocean. Well, we will need to assemble a team and send them off to that as soon as our truck gets back, because, well, we're gonna need to carry a lot of steel. Well, looks like some more wild men have wandered onto our map, and it looks like 2 of them have good skills, that being Chris and the Best. The Best is good at construction, which we always need more of, and Chris is really good at medical, and not the best at construction, but very passionate about it. So I think those 2 need to get tossed into our colony as soon as possible. Now, we will start by taming them, as that is the safest manner in which to try to get them into our colony. And then once they're in the colony, we will arrest them so we can convert them properly to our ideology. And it looks like the caravan has already arrived at Tusla. Very efficient. Let's go ahead and dump off everything we brought with us. See how much of a profit we get. And selling everything we brought nets us a profit of 1,814. And for once, Tusla isn't almost broke selling us that, but they do not have the bionics that I need. Although a bionic jaw would be quite nice. But it isn't what I require, so we will not be buying it. We will instead simply take their money and, well, help with the harvest. Or not. I apparently cannot help it so long as we are in a vehicle. Well, that is certainly something. I guess we will not be helping with the harvest. And we won't really be able to trade with anyone else to get a bionic either, since, well, everyone around us is hostile now. Although it does look like we have a trade caravan coming to us, which is quite nice. Let's go ahead and intercept them with the truck, see if we can't get anything before they get to the colony. And the trade caravan has been intercepted. Let's go ahead, see what they have. And do you have a bionic spine? You do not. Shame. Well, in that case, I will simply buy your medicine and bid you a good day and move on. And when they reach our settlement, we should be able to trade with them again. And from my experience, they will be a different type of caravan when they arrive. So hopefully, when they arrive, they will have magically, spontaneously acquired a bionic spine. Alright, let's see what this trader has. And it looks like they are now a bulk goods trader. Very interesting. And once again, no bionics. But they have managed to spontaneously acquire components, which I will gladly take, and sell them a bunch of leather. And take even more of their money. And I think that's about all we will be purchasing, and that nets us 600 more silver. Well, now that we have done that little bit of trading and everyone has gotten time to rest, I think it's time to send out a little mining caravan. We will send out Bicep and Skypanese, why not? And they won't really be taken too terribly much. Mostly just some cheese for non-perishables. And other than that, not much really needs to be taken. Suppose we can take 2 teepees so they have something to sleep in. And then we send them off to the steel deposit that we found. And we have arrived at the steel deposit. And that is a very sizable chunk of steel. Let's go ahead, bring the truck on down. And I think we'll set up camp right here. Nice little spot, right in this little alcove. There we go. All right, Bicep, your job is quite simple. Mine the steel. And I'm not sure what Skypanese will be doing, but they will be doing something. And other than that, I guess, we're getting a bunch of steel. We could probably upgrade my vehicle while we're here. Mine as well, especially the improved cargo capacity. Doesn't look like there's too terribly much else on the map, though, for Skypanese to be doing. So I guess, if you have nothing else to do, you can mine. And there we go, upgraded cargo capacity. Now we can carry just a little bit more. I think we're just going to keep doing that. Every time we get some steel, we'll have Bicep haul it over. And then Skypanese can start upgrading the truck. That is one of the main reasons I need all this steel after all. And it would seem that our deep drill has found some steel. Whole bunch of it right under Vera's house. Well, it's a good thing that we're building new ones then. And as soon as that gets torn down, we can set up a deep drill. Start getting some good steel from that we don't have to transport by truck. That is what I like to see. Oh, and it looks like Chris has been successfully tamed by Sam. Beller Rose, please arrest Chris so that we can convert them. And there we go. The steel has been mined. And we got well over 2,000 if you include the steel we used to do the upgrades. So I think that is what we can call a resounding success. Never mind. It would appear that we have too much steel. It was not accounting for my colonists in the truck. Well, instead of leaving some of our glorious steel behind, why don't we simply get some of it put into the truck as upgrades? Alright, well, after doing the reinforced armor upgrade, we still have too much steel. Unfortunately. So that does mean we will be leaving behind around about 200 steel, which is a shame. But it's not the worst, because we're still getting 1,640 steel. So I still consider that to be a victory. Although that does now bring up a point on we need another truck. Which I am going to go ahead and start queuing up. Because I want another mule. One, so that we can haul all the steel from finding a deposit, but also because one mule can carry one squad. 2 mules means I can deploy 2 squads at any given time. And I'll go ahead and queue up all the construction for the parts and whatnot. Shouldn't take too terribly long. And there we go. Everything is queued up, and hopefully we can get that truck built soon enough. Shouldn't take too terribly long, and I think I'm actually going to go ahead and update the build vehicles, and we are instead going to do some specification on what vehicles. And there we go. It has been updated. Now, you might be looking at that and be curious as to what I mean. Well, I want to build 1 mule, 1 more rocket artillery, and 1 tank. Rocket artillery are scythemen, and tanks are, well, tanks. See, the rocket artillery is very good at large area bombardments, but a tank, on the other hand, is good for when the enemy's actively charging you. So rocket artillery as an opening attack, tank for the follow-up. And then, of course, the mule, as I said earlier, cargo and troop transport. It's pretty self-explanatory there. And that will take a while because vehicles are expensive. But with that massive shipment of steel, I am sure we will get it done in a few episodes. Oh, and it looks like we have successfully tamed a skip hound. Awesome. I love these silly little creatures. For those who do not know, a skip hound is quite literally a dog that can teleport. Has no real control over it, it just kind of blips around wherever it wants. But that is precisely why I love them. They're just so silly. And now we have one. And it looks like Reaper has been converted. Very good. Let's get to work on recruiting our very first Saurid. Now, granted, Reaper isn't very good in skills, but Reaper is good at shooting, and that is what I need. I desperately need people who are capable of combat to a reasonable extent, because we don't have very many of them. Oh, and it looks like Chris has also been converted already. That was fast. Alright, I guess Chris can rejoin the colony proper. Absolute mental breakdown, though, unfortunately. But nothing we can't work around. Let's go ahead and make sure Chris is on the right schedule, and of course, get him assigned to his jobs. He is mostly going to be a backup doctor, and of course, construction, as those are the two things Chris is good at. Chris is also half decent in combat, which is nice. In other news, though, the houses are just about finished, which means we are going to begin deconstructing some of these ones down here. In fact, we will deconstruct these 4 right here and leave these 2 because, well, we do still have prisoners being recruited, so I can't fully deconstruct everything just yet. But we can go ahead and start making some progress on deconstructing these bits at the very least. And it looks like Baskling has also been fully converted. Unfortunately, Baskling is completely unable to do anything because they can't walk. It does appear, though, that they are going into hypothermic slowdown. Yikes. Okay, so I need to warm them up rapidly. And I'm going to do that by slapping in a radiator. And I think we'll just slap a radiator here in the central room. And we will immediately get one of our constructors to work on that. And there we go. That should be enough to hopefully keep these guys from dying. Maybe. I mean, considering they're going into hypothermic slowdown and it isn't all that cold, not too positive on that. Definitely going to have to make sure that when we get them recruited, we give them some proper warm clothes. But while that was getting built, it would appear that the armory has been constructed and the road has also been built up. And that means that we are now going to begin the ever so time-consuming process of moving everything over into the new building. And there we go. That is going to be the little setup for that. And let's go ahead, just for the heck of it, we will run a power conduit over and install some lights. Is this strictly necessary? Absolutely not, but it will make it look a little bit nicer. Well, with the armory finished and soon to have everything hauled over, I think I'm going to leave this episode off here. We have made a lot of progress. We got 3 more houses built, as well as 2 flame turrets to hopefully dispel any future wall breakthroughs over there. Our long-range mineral scanner worked wonders in finding us a ton of steel, and soon we will have a second mule because of it. And on top of all of that, we also found steel under Vera's old house, which we will be getting very soon. Although that did mean we had to stop our research, but we've been advancing so fast, I think it's time for us to slow our roll on the research for a little bit and focus on what we already have and solidifying our position a bit. And with all that said and done, though, I will see you all in the next episode.